Hey everyone, Michelle Seidling here with another episode of Food Experience Unplugged. Today we'll explore the opportunity and importance of a healthy lifestyle with business success. Here to help us do that is Jon Stankiewicz, a business strategy and mindset coach and author of the book Beyond the Classroom, The Unconventional Education of an Entrepreneur. Jon Stankiewicz, welcome to Food Experience Unplugged.
Hey, I'm excited to be here, Michelle. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thanks for being here. Well, we are excited to hear your story. You are what I would consider is really taking the workforce by storm and really showing an unconventional approach. And I'm really excited to talk a little bit about it with you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been an amazing journey so far, and I love everything you're doing with this show and podcast. So I'm excited to just share my story and experiences with you guys.
Oh, great. Well, so to start off, could you just give a little background of yourself and what brought you to this point?
Yeah, absolutely. So currently, I'm 26 years old. I'm back in Connecticut now. I've been living in Manhattan the past year, but due to all the craziness going on, I came back to my family's home just to kind of ride it out. But yeah, and my journey really goes back to I became an entrepreneur at age 18. And before that, it was really the whole go to school, get good grades so you can get a good job, get a good degree, and then go and work for a company my whole life. And that was kind of like the route to success that I was told. And I never loved it, but I pursued it and did what I had to do just to kind of go that route because I was really obsessed with becoming successful. And when I was 18, I was introduced to the company I'm partnered with, which is all based around nutrition products and helping people with weight loss, with gaining more energy, healthy aging, putting on muscle. And there's a really big business opportunity with it as well. So that kind of flipped the switch for me and showed me a different way to become successful via entrepreneurship. But it was really cool because I had been uh, working on getting in shape myself. I'd gone from chubby in middle school to really skinny once I cut out soda, and then struggled to put on muscle. And these products were something that really helped me with my health journey. So built that on the side throughout college. I went to the University of Connecticut along with many other business ventures. And by the time I graduated, I got my degree in applied mathematics and economics. But this business that I had built with this nutrition company had provided me with a level of residual income that was more than most of my friends were making going to the corporate world and do a job that they were kind of dreading to go to. And instead of going that route, I went and I decided to travel the world building this business online. I went and lived in Italy for about 7 months. I think I traveled to like 20 different countries while I was over there. And like I said, building this business online. And then, I came back, really took it a lot more seriously. Lived out in California, Manhattan, and I've built this business to about 3,000 customers and distributors now. I've been a top 10 earner in our company for ages 25 and under for the past 3 years in a row. And I recently just published my first book, which is about how the most important things we learn to become successful come from experiences outside of traditional school. And I just kind of highlighted my journey that I just shared with you in much more depth. But yeah, it's just been awesome. And the basis of everything I've been doing has been from this nutrition company and from really helping people become the healthiest version of themselves.
Okay. So to take a step back for a minute, you mentioned even kind of growing up, you were kind of focused on entrepreneurship, on business, that type of thing. Where do you feel like it stemmed from? Were you influenced by, a friend or family member or other things?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I in high school, I thought I wanted to become a physical therapist. I love sports. I played soccer and baseball, and I saw the opportunity to earn six figures, which when you're in high school, that seems like a crazy amount of money. That that's like the goal, six figures. So I was pursuing that route, and I was introduced to entrepreneurship actually by my mom, who has always been an entrepreneur. She used to own her own cleaning business, a bakery. She worked in direct sales, doing one of those type of businesses where you do home parties, where she was selling all these different spices and cheese balls and desserts. And she was a top producer in that company. But what happened was she still wasn't earning a six-figure income, and the products that she was preaching, she had this huge transformation where she started running marathons and became really health conscientious. So she decided to step away, and about a year and a half passed before her best friend, who she was a part of that direct sales company, with came to her and brought to her the nutrition company we're partnered with, because both of them had developed this new healthy identity, and both of them kind of felt like they weren't done yet in the business game. So they found this company, partnered with it. My mom was the first person that her best friend came to, and then my mom brought it to me, and we were on this vacation at this vacation home in North Carolina in the Outer Banks. And I remember my mom's friend telling her all about it. And at first, my mom was just like not trying to hear it. She was kind of burnt out and tired. And she heard her out. They went and disappeared in the hot tub for like 2 hours over a glass of wine. They discussed this nutrition business. And my mom came out and she's like, John, this is unbelievable. This is going to change our lives. This is going to change your life. We're doing this together. And I'm like, Mom, I'm going to the beach. I don't know what you're talking about. And we kind of left it at that, but she showed me the products and I understood, like I started using some of them, but I never really understood the business opportunity. And so that was like my first exposure. And then when I went away to school that fall, my best friend came to me with a different business that was similar. So we're in the network marketing industry. So he came to me with a business that was revolved around these healthy energy drinks. And that's what really opened my eyes up to entrepreneurship in the business world, because it was my best friend, right? It's different coming from your best friend than your mom, because it made it more relatable to me. And I actually ended up partnering with him at first. I think my mom would have killed me if she could have, but instead she started plugging me into all the resources I needed to succeed. And after about 6 months, I just realized I was so much more aligned with what she was doing and decided to switch over. So really have to give credit to my mom for the entrepreneurship side of myself.
That is wonderful. So you're in business with your mom right now, among other things?
Yes. Yeah. Our main business, our nutrition business, I work with my mom. My sister actually just turned 18 and she builds it with us as well. So it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
That is wonderful. Wow. That's it. Really just to kind of see your growth over the several years as you kind of develop that entrepreneur, I guess, fire, little spark there. So
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. It's been awesome.
yeah. So with your book, let's talk about your book for a minute. So the beyond the classroom. So you mentioned it's kind of about your experiences and coming to be. So can you tell us a little bit more about the book and why this book? Why is it applicable, do you think, at this time, and how do you feel it's helping people?
Yeah, well, I just personally, I could talk about this for hours, so I'll keep it as compact as possible. But I just feel like times are changing so much, and I've been able to live such an unconventional life due to the unconventional route I've taken, right? They don't really preach entrepreneurship or starting your own business, or the fact that you can create residual income or travel the world and work from anywhere you want. So really stemming back, my story begins, and I wanted, there's three real main goals from this book. I wanted to inspire people to show them what is possible out there, and that if they have a gut feeling and they feel like they should go for something, that they should go for it and make it happen, that there's not just one way to become successful. And the school route and the corporate route, that's great for some people, but it's not for everyone. And you can live the life of your dreams if you decide to go after it. The second part was I really wanted to shift people's perspective as to what's possible in the world. So, like I said, again, it's not just cut in black and white, like this is how you become successful and this is how you're not successful. There's a million plus ways to find success in your own terms. So, I wanted to just shift people's perspective to kind of how we're conditioned to think. And then I wanted to entertain people with my story and make it relatable, because going back, I got kicked out of high school in ninth grade. I couldn't afford college at first. Throughout college, I had these business ventures and I tried many others along with, we started a business where we bus students to off-campus events. We started one where we were flipping textbooks during finals week. Like we were trading stocks online, flipping sports jerseys online. And I get this degree and I'm kind of on graduation day. I remember I'm just like, everything that I've learned so far to become successful has come to me from outside of school, that I've learned through experience. And I kind of had that revelation, and I knew I wanted to do something with it. And it wasn't, and this was in 2016 when I graduated. So the book was just published 2 months ago. And it just took me a while to get clear on how I wanted to bring it to my audience. And after that, like I said, I lived in Italy, traveling around all these different countries, lived in California, I've lived in Manhattan. I've just been able to live such an awesome life because of this unconventional route I took. And one day it just kind of clicked that I needed to share my story with people. So that's what I did. I shared my story, and it's been awesome, the feedback we've been getting so far, because it's just people from ages 18 to ages 70 are just like, wow, this is awesome, and just made me think differently and kind of see the world through a different lens.
Sure. Now, did you mentioned it was business mathematics, applied economics. So did you feel when you were going to school, were you excited to go to school, or was it more kind of check the box type of thing that you had mentioned, this is what you're supposed to be doing, these types of things? What were your
Yeah.
feelings about that?
Well, that's a great question. At first, I was excited and I was so dedicated because that was my route. That's how I was going to make it. That's how I was going to become successful, was that school route. So my first year, and I'd mentioned a little bit that I couldn't afford to go to the school I wanted to at first. I got into the University of Rhode Island. I'm from a really small town in Connecticut, so I was so excited to go to a big school out of state, like new experience. And I went to orientation, signed up for classes, told everyone, had the URI gear and everything. And a month before, my mom had to sit me down and was like, John, we can't afford to send you there. You can't get student loans your first year, because it was about $50,000 for out of state tuition. And the best we could do was for me to commute to a local branch school for the University of Connecticut, which was 5 minutes down the road for me. So I'd be living at home still. And it was just so far from what I imagined. And I remember just being so beat up about it, but I made the decision that I would never let finances dictate the decisions I would make going forward. And at the time, this was before entrepreneurship, it was going to be school. So my first year, I was dean's list, get like straight A's, getting um, all the prereqs for the physical therapy route. I was just crushing them and putting all my effort into it. And then once I got to UConn and I got introduced to the business and entrepreneurship world, that's when my mind just shifted and I knew that was the path I was going to take. But I just like to see things through. And I mean, having a college degree, I guess, brings about credibility. But for me at the time, I knew I wasn't going to do physical therapy anymore. And I've always kind of understood math, and it kind of comes easy to me in a way, which sounds weird because a lot of people hate math and it's like one of the things they're most frightened of. But I switched to math just because I knew I could sort of coast through and make that happen, and then picked economics as a minor because that did interest me. But my after a year and a half in school, I knew that wouldn't be the route, but I still saw it through to completion.
Sure, absolutely. Um, and hopefully you're using some aspect of that in your, at least if nothing else, to kind of guide people toward what's right for them, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, it's different for everyone, right? Some people, a corporate 40-hour week, 9 to 5 job, that's great for them, and they need that structure and that steady income that they can rely on. For me, that's just nothing about it excites me, and I figured that out fortunately pretty early on. But yeah, I mean, college, and I write in my book about all of the value I got out of being in the college environment. It was just not from classes, so to say. So
Mhm.
it's different for everyone. Like if you want to be an engineer, a lawyer, a doctor, school's your route, right? But if you want to go start a business or do something unconventional like I have, maybe school's not the best choice in spending that could be up to 250,000 dollars to get a degree that you're not really going to use. So it's really all based on the individual. But I just wanted to bring light to what it was for me. And I know a lot of people felt similar to I did. They just were taking the route because they felt that's what they had to do. But I just wanted to show people that, there's other ways to make it.
Sure, absolutely, and that's wonderful. That's a fantastic route, and you're glad that that worked out for you in terms of success and in terms of helping other people to kind of see their entrepreneur spirit, or what aspect of success they want to approach.
Yeah.
So the so let's talk a little bit about balancing health and business success. How, I don't, what's your, in terms of your, I guess, rise to entrepreneurship, so to speak, but in terms of health, how have you, from a health perspective, how have you personally balanced that, or what challenges did you see as far as balancing health and, creating the business and making it successful?
Yeah. In my opinion, I mean, your body's your temple, right? And you can only do as much as your body is capable of and that you have the energy to do. And fortunately for our business, it's nutrition products, like top of the line nutrition products that we sell and help people with. So obviously we're a product of the product first. So putting those products in our body and experiencing that that transformation and that energy and all those good things these products bring us allows us to show up and perform at the level we need to be a high level entrepreneur. So that's everything to me. And I fortunately, when I was in high school, decided that I wanted to become healthy and put that first. So I decided that early on. Like I said, I used to be chubby, drank way too much soda and fruit roll-ups and all of that stuff. You know what I mean? Growing up. And once I cut all of that out, soda was the number one thing I got rid of that immediately just I lost all the fat I had. But then I got really skinny and struggled to put muscle on. And I remember my friend who worked out, he was a couple grades older than me. I just asked him what I should use. And next thing you know, I'm using all these crazy supplements that feel like my skin's itching and going to fall off of my face in the gym. And, you finish your workouts and you're nauseous because some of the products out there just aren't the best for you. And once I started using our products, I was able to healthily put on about 30 pounds of muscle. And then it just helped me with my performance across the board. Because even in school, you see these kids forget about food, forget about exercise. We have an exam coming up. A lot of them take like drugs like Adderall and slug down monsters and just unhealthy. Like they're eating food that's all processed and crappy because they are focused on studying, but they don't realize that you take a step back, you have a good meal, you prioritize like an hour, even 30 minutes of exercise, your performance is going to be that much better. And it comes across to entrepreneurship as well. People get so caught up in go, go, go. We don't have time to work out. It's not making us money. Well, at the end of the day, you're only going to be able to perform and make money if you're physically able to show up and if you're mentally there and mentally able to serve people. So all of it stems back to your nutrition. And in my opinion, I think regular exercise is so important too, just to kind of clear your mind, de-stress. But it just allows you to get into that peak performance zone to really crush it across the board.
Okay. So what are some challenges with, you kind of alluded to it a little bit with the go, 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 but what are some challenges that you've seen maybe in other entrepreneurs, um, as far as trying to balance that health with starting their business, with trying to be successful?
Yeah, a lot of them, the work is important, right? It is what you do and what you need to do to earn an income and get results. So what I see in our business is it's a lot of sharing our products with people, a lot of one-on-one coaching, a lot of conversations. And it's easy to fill up your schedule with calls all day and just get in the go, 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 and then kind of put your nutrition to the side and put what you're supposed to be doing to the side. And what I see is they get caught up in this, and then mentally they're so drained because they're not putting the right things in their body and they're just only focused on work. And then on top of that, you start to gain weight. And a lot of businesses now especially come along with a sedentary lifestyle. So you can be in the seat all day, on calls all day, and you're gaining weight, you're losing your mental edge, and you ultimately end up crashing and burning is what happens because you're just not treating your body or putting the right fuel in your body. It's like taking a car out, getting it on empty and just trying to keep going. The car is going to die because it's out of gas. And it's the same thing with business people or entrepreneurs or anyone who's trying to go out and accomplish something huge, because you lose sight of the fact sometimes that you need yourself there. You need to be mentally present. You need to be feeling good in order to serve and help others, which is what we ultimately do. So, yeah, crash and burn is very common, or people just completely lose control of their health, which leads to high medical bills, and just completely taking themselves out of the game, and they think they're saving time and making more money by skipping out on the nutrition and exercise in the short run, but in the long run it all catches up and comes back to bite them.
Sure, absolutely. So, do you feel like it's kind of entrepreneurs across the board, or does it depend on what type of business they're going into, or as far as demographics in terms of a focus on health or a lack of focus on health?
I think it depends. Like it is across the board. And for our company, we're fortunate that our product is a nutrition product, and we preach and prioritize that because we know that's what you need to do to be able to show up to help others. But I think, yeah, across the board, because a lot of it, so much is online right now, and so much is just like the entrepreneur lifestyle. You always have stuff that you should and could be doing, and if it's so easy to just skip that hour of exercise in the morning, and it's even more than that for just the exercise. Like for me, I spend an hour in the morning reading. I have my protein shake. I have all my different supplements and vitamins I take. I'll just sit there and like practice gratitude, and it's just all of these things which think lead to overall health. It's easy to skip over because you can wake up and be like, oh man, I have 10 calls I have to make today, and I have this person to set up a meeting with, or I'm not coming up on my quota with this, and I need to really hustle to make that happen. But it's like when you sit back and you're like, all right, let's make sure I'm getting the right food throughout the day. Let's make sure I'm getting that exercise in. Then once you do that and prioritize yourself, you're just able to show up in a different way. But yeah, I feel like it's definitely across the board, all different types of entrepreneurs. But it's just so easy to get sucked up and lose sight of what truly matters.
What do you think drives people toward prioritizing their health?
Yeah, I always think it's they had a wake up call or something. It's normally a dramatic wake up call or drastic wake up call that happened where they could have went to the doctor and the results they had, they far from expected them. A big one that I have with us is people are going on a vacation or a wedding, and they have or a wedding to go to. And for the vacation, they try on a bathing suit and they're like, geez, I really need to do something about this seriously. And a wedding, they realize they're not going to look the way they want in the dress and they're going to have those pictures forever. Or it's just a health scare. And that really drives people to take action. And sometimes for me, it's so funny. I remember watching a movie and just seeing this dude like all chiseled up, shredded up on the beach. And I just kind of was like, I want to be like that, going from kind of chubby. And I was like, that's what I want to do. So some people just kind of are more self starters and take action before it gets out of control. But unfortunately, with a lot of people, it takes like a wake up call for them to be like, all right, I actually have to do something about this. And you said success story. So I wanted to share this because it was so important in my journey. So when I was over in Italy, I had used this travel company that sold day and weekend trips all over Italy and Europe as a tool to get over there. And with that, I got like a free apartment, free gym membership. I got paid to travel every weekend. So that was my tool to
Nice.
get over there. Yeah, it was awesome. And meanwhile, I still had my business. And then on top of that, so after I was there for a week, I met the people who kind of ran the whole nightlife scene there. So I started becoming a club promoter as well. So I was club promoting Monday through Thursday. And then on the weekends, I was traveling somewhere new. And it was awesome. One of the best experiences of my life. However, the drinking every night, the pasta, the pizza, the wine, all the Italian food catches up to you after a while. And
Mm.
when I came back from that, I wasn't severely out of shape, but I was puffy. I wasn't feeling great. My energy wasn't great. And I definitely didn't have the body that I had going into it. So with our company, we have a 16-week transformation challenge. And I decided to just refocus on my business and to take my health to the next level. I would do this challenge. And I just committed across the board. And it all started with what nutrition am I putting in my body and what are my exercise? That was the core of it. But and what the results that came from it were mind blowing. Like I got into the best shape of my life. And with that challenge, they I was in like the top 15 people they picked out of like 15,000 entries. They recognized me, and best transformation of my life. But also mentally, I took things to a whole nother level with that discipline you form by putting the right foods in your body, the discipline you form by going all in on your workouts 5 or 6 days a week. I used it as a tool to grow my business. So I was way more intentional and had way more energy to work on my business. And overall, that 16 weeks transformed my business entirely. That's when after that 16-week period, led into the first time I was in the top 10 earners for ages 25 and under in our company, which I've done the past 3 years now. And I was able to start investing in different businesses I was passionate about. But it's just so funny because it all stems back to me committing to that physical transformation and health transformation, which ended up in a transformation in every category of my life. So that was one of the most important moments for me. And that's how I know that just focusing on the nutrition and health will elevate you in every other area of your life.
Absolutely. And it sounds like you're able to kind of apply those skills a little bit to the different aspects of your life. What, I guess, what skills in particular do you feel are relevant? And as I guess as people kind of transform, to use your terminology, and just really prioritize their health, how can those skills help them in their business or in other aspects of their life, you think?
I think when you focus on a health and physical transformation, it results in a huge. So most people's habits aren't healthy to begin with. They're used to reaching for a can of soda or the cookie bag in the pantry or the bag of chips. And a lot of people just don't have habits formed around health in their head. So when you're able to really break that pattern of those bad habits around the food you're eating and lack of exercise or the bad choices you're making, and then start forming the right habits around putting the proper food in your body, prioritizing exercise. After a certain period of time, it becomes part of your identity. And um, if you're intentional while you're doing this, you can start forming habits in other areas of your life that will elevate you. So all of it comes down to making being healthy part of your identity, right? You don't want to just do it for a month and then revert back to your old ways. You want to make it a lifestyle. And so that's such a transformation you go through. And if you can go through the health or mental transformation, you can go through the transformation you need to really level up and perform at a high level in your business. So what I did was, at the time, I went through some serious personal development working with a mentor who was kind of helping me with my beliefs and habits around my business. So I was able to just form the habits necessary to go out there and crush it with my business because I was already making this big transformation with my health, and it all went hand in hand. So I feel like mindset is one of the biggest places that you can make a huge transformation when you're focusing on your health, because making that transformation is all mindset. It really comes down to mind over matter when you're taking control of your health. And then I think once you realize that you can take control of that area, then you realize you can take control of any other area that you want to. Everything in our mindset and who we are can all be stemmed back to our beliefs, which ultimately come from our experiences, our environment, or it's something that we've intentionally conditioned to build as part of us. So when you go back and with health, a lot of people grew up in a home where it's like you need to drink your whole milk and eat your meat to be a man. You know what I mean? And they instill like this is what we do. That's what a man eats. That's what you do to become big and strong. Most people don't know the first thing about nutrition. So these beliefs are instilled within you. And with these beliefs, you're eating the meat, you're drinking the whole milk, you're eating these processed foods, and you the whole time think it's right because that's what was instilled within you and it's just part of who you are. So you don't even question when you're eating those foods or making the poor decisions because someone who ultimately didn't really know what they were talking about uh, made you believe that that's what was right to do. And so when you're able to kind of look at it objectively and be like, wow, maybe my dad really didn't know what the best foods to put in my body were, and maybe he was a little ignorant to what the best choices were, and you can kind of separate that belief from being an actual fact, then you can go in and then take the information you've gotten from wherever. It could be from a person like you or me, that knows more about nutrition, and be like, well, maybe this is actually right, and instill that belief, and then just start taking the action to make it a habit and then make it part of who you are. So you can do that with any aspect of your life. Limiting beliefs around money, you can do it around relationships, you can do it around work, anything. You can find your beliefs and oftentimes find that they're not really always substantiated by fact, that they're a made up set of rules we made for ourselves based on most of the time how we grew up and the people around us and what we've experienced.
Basically, you're kind of, I guess, unlearning prior
Mhm.
habits. Well,
Absolutely, yeah. It's all unlearning. That's the issue because think about is like a little kid. You've the little kid learning to walk. This is an example we always use. If he falls down a bunch of times, you don't just say, "Oh, that little kid was never meant to walk anyway." No, they're going to keep trying it until they can figure out how to walk. And what happens is when we get older, other people's experiences, they try to take their negative experiences and make them apply to you. So as we grow older, we see different people who've had success or failures, or we ourselves have failed different things. And then we start to tell ourselves these stories that maybe this just isn't meant for us. Everything is the unlearning process because we adapt and adopt all these beliefs that just aren't true all the time. So it really is unlearning because if you look at it most of the time, there's a different angle to look at it, or you can figure out that the beliefs aren't actual fact.
unlearning old habits and learning new habits are important, but what do you feel holds people back from that?
Yeah, it's definitely your willingness to learn and willingness to change. And a lot of people are ignorant and stuck in their ways. They're not willing to learn and they're not willing to change. So those people are never going to change. But I think it always comes down to an enlightening event kind of. So like for example, maybe you watch a documentary about how where our food comes from, and then all of a sudden you're like, wow, I never knew this. And now you're thinking about food and what you put in your body in a whole different way. And I think it's always like the awareness and the enlightenment. And then from there, you have to kind of make the decisions and figure out a reason to stick with that new path and form the habits through till it becomes part of who you are. But I think it always comes down, a lot of the time, it's really not people's fault for the way they are. They just don't know another way. You know what I mean? They've been told something and they just have come to believe it, but they just don't know another way. And then there's the people, of course, that aren't open to seeing it another way. They're stuck in their own ways and are never going to change. So yeah, it's really like having that event, like I said before, with people who burn out and eventually crash and burn. It takes that moment of like a scary moment, like them going to the doctor, or maybe having a near heart attack or something like that, for them to be like, "Wow, I need to change." And it's better when you can catch it before it becomes that serious.
What are some things that you feel can entrepreneurs can benefit from as they're um, to prevent that from happening, to prevent that burnout, to prevent those not willing to learn, not willing to change their habits.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I mean, there's two parts to it. So you can catch people, and hopefully, like I preach a healthy lifestyle before all else. I always show on my social media and everything what I'm putting in my body, my exercise, that I'm reading, that I'm taking care of myself first so I can take care of others. And some people are able to see that and understand that they're not doing that and they need to make the change. Unfortunately, a lot of people need to go through some type of experience before they actually understand how important it is. So for those people, it's again going back to the willingness to learn, willingness to change. They don't have that willingness, so it's going to take an experience for them to understand. But for me, what I do with our business is I'm preaching the healthy lifestyle for myself. We're doing events, we're doing webinars, we're doing everything we can to bring awareness to the issues that are going on with health and what we're putting in our body. And hopefully, we reach enough people to make a change. And I mean, for my business, like I said, we've helped about 3,000 people so far, which is really small in the grand scheme of things. But it feels good to know that you help someone see the issue and take action before it got too late. But I guess for all we can do is really just preach and show people the alternative way. But at the end of the day, we can't force people to do something that they're not ready to take action on.
Sure. Now, is that where mindset comes in? Trying to transform your mindset into something to kind of more of a willingness to learn?
Yeah, I think that's where it starts. The mindset comes in because with anything, forming changing who you are subconsciously is never easy because your subconscious wants you to stay the same. It doesn't want you to change because in the past, change meant danger, and change brings about fear, and change brings about uncertainty. And in the past, like when we were cavemen, throwing sticks and stones at each other, that was dangerous, and that was a great mechanism to have. But now it's like the change is really just fear and uncertainty we build in our own head that doesn't really mean anything. It's just our primitive instincts trying to keep us the same. So the mindset comes into play because when you do something that's drastically different, your body wants you to stay the same, and it's hard to fight through it to make that new identity. But once you understand these mechanisms and why your body's doing it, it makes it easier to see it through and see it through to the end. And everything, it's just mindset is just so important with everything that we do because you face challenges, you face uncertainty, you face doubt. On your health journey, you're going to face all of those uncertainty, doubt, and wondering if you can continue doing it. You're going to be eating healthy one day and want a pizza, but having that strong mindset will help you see it through and ultimately make the change.
Are there particular tips or areas where that people can think about to kind of guide them toward that mindset change or toward, keeping the health aspect in mind as they're building their business?
Yeah, I think it's so important to set goals in all areas and health included. So set a goal and not just a goal, set like a vision of where you want to go and why you want to go there. So for me, like I said, I saw this movie and that captured me. I saw this guy jacked up, shredded up on the beach, and I wanted to be like that. Uh, and that image stuck in my mind. And when I did that 16-week transformation, I committed to get into the best shape of my life. And I held that image and what it would feel like when I got there and what it would look like and how it would feel walking across the beach with this body that I so desired and was working so hard for. And that when I had the cravings or didn't want to work out made me stick through because I always readdressed that image I had and that vision I had and that why that I had. And that's the start of it all is form that why and actually think about like, so 6 months from now, if you start this health journey today, what is it going to look like if everything goes exactly according to plan and goes the best it possibly can? Like, get that image in your head of what that will look like, what it'll feel like when you can put on the bathing suit and feel comfortable, or some people put on their jeans that they haven't been able to wear in a few years and feel good in them. And then I also ask people, I say, think about, okay, say, you know, all you know today, you know that you can make this change, you know what it's going to look like. Now imagine that you don't decide to take action today and you put it off till tomorrow and then you put it off again and then you put it off again. What will that look like in 6 months? Right? And
Sure.
more often than not, they're going to have made no progress. They probably are going to went backwards, and they're going to feel worse about themselves and be full of regret that they never took action when 6 months is going to go by like that anyway. So getting those images in your mind and getting that emotional attachment to it is the most important part. But then it's just creating a plan and following the plan and sticking to the plan. But like I said, at the end of the day, no one else can do it for you. You have to want it for yourself. So that's why it's so important in the beginning to get clear on why you're doing it and getting a really powerful emotional reason anchored to it.
A big issue that people have is sustaining that over the long term. You know, they went and lost X number of pounds and they're feeling great, they're looking good, but then it's a question of maintaining that. How do you feel that people can, I guess, not let life take over? That's a lot of what you hear is, "Hey, my life took over, and then then I stopped doing whatever I was doing." What is kind of the guess the spark that keeps them going, as opposed to letting things slide and letting other priorities take over?
Yeah, well, again, going back, it's that deep rooted why are you doing this? Why must you become healthy? Why must you get this image? Why must you keep taking the actions to get to that ideal version of yourself? And then, like you said, there is so much out there and there's so much information. It's so easy to try all these fad diets or get lost in a lot of it's misinformation, really. But it's important to find something that you can build a sustainable lifestyle around, something that's not going to deprive you so that you can still, I mean, at the end of the day, like I love Ben and Jerry's. I'll have a, a tonight dough every now and then, but it's about that balance and finding something that for 80% of the time you're putting those right things in your body so that the 20% of the time you can still have a few of those things that you might crave or to reward yourself with for staying healthy. So you need to find something that's not just a quick fix or a fad. You need to find something that you can build a sustainable lifestyle around. And for me, I feel like our products fall perfectly into building that sustainable lifestyle. So that's why I've been using them for 8 years. Probably over half what I eat comes from them. And that's why I've been able to stay with it. But also, I mean, at this point, I just have that identity of being someone who's healthy, who eats right, who works out. And that's come with all of the mini transformations along the way of me wanting to get in the best shape. And then you get there and then you see how good it feels that you don't want to go back to binge eating the potato chips on the couch and the pizza and all that stuff. Like I now I have junk food and I'm like, I can't wait till tomorrow to get back on my schedule. You know what I mean? So sustainability and at first really just knowing your reason for doing it, a deeply rooted emotional reason, because eventually you're going to get healthy and then you're going to love how you feel so much that you're not going to want to go back to your old self.
Your book, Beyond the Classroom: The Unconventional Education of an Entrepreneur. How can people get the book? How can people get in contact with you if they want to know more about mindset, about business strategy, different development?
Yeah, absolutely. So my book is available on Amazon, just Beyond the Classroom. The Unconventional Education of an Entrepreneur. It's also on my website, beyondtheclassroombook.com. And then I'm most active on Instagram, and my name is just at Jon Stankiewicz. Facebook as well. There's not many Jon Stankiewiczes out there, so it shouldn't be too difficult to find. But yeah, that's where I'm at.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, we will include all of that in the show notes so people can check out your book and check out your work on your website. And Jon, it's been a pleasure. I am really excited for you, not only, reflecting on your prior business adventures, but even just what's beyond this. So I guess in parting, what is beyond this point? Beyond, not beyond the classroom, that name's already taken, but beyond your current life. What's next on the horizon?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, right now it's our health and wellness business, just helping as many people as possible become the healthiest versions of themselves, helping as many people as possible create additional incomes. There definitely will be more books down the road. I'm about to launch a podcast soon, so I'm excited for that. And I'm just trying to help as many people and make as big of an impact as possible. Right now, my strengths are entrepreneurship and mindset. So that's really what I preach and coach on, where I'm focused on helping people. But yeah, just love business and just trying to get involved in as much as I can that's making a positive impact out there. So we'll see where the road takes us.
That is wonderful. Jon, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Michelle. This was awesome.
If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to be notified as new episodes become available. You can also visit our website at foodexperienceunplugged.com to check out some free resources on helping you develop healthy eating habits for life success.